So, what I wanted to get into today was what I think the meta is and how it's changing and well, not really what I think is going to happen after Cosmo Blazer, as there are three big decks that are coming in. There are the Fire Fists, the Fire Kings, and the Haze Beasts. Fire Kings and Fire Fists will change the meta, in my opinion, and many others. The Fire Fists are sort of like the new Inzectors. They, with a Fire Dance Tenki, you can bring out a bear or a gorilla, and you can pop whatever you like. And if then I believe it's bear, or if you just inflict battle damage, then you can set another one. So I don't want to really get into that too much because I don't know what's going to happen and I don't know what's happening. But what I do want to get into is what's happening right now. So I have several cards in the side deck and in the main deck. Now, what each of these cards is it? What's a good word? It represents a deck in the meta. As far as what order they're in, it sort of matters. I put them in order, excuse me, in how I think they are doing, but not on what side they're on, but not in order of how they're doing on either side. So I would put these three in one category, put this one in a category, and put these two. I'm just going to get this out of the way right now. I put these two in a category, this in its own category, and then these... Actually, I need to put this over here with that, and these two in a category. So, I want to start with what I have in the main deck. The reason that's in the main deck is because this is the main meta. Rescue Rabbit, big surprise, represents the deck called Dino Rabbits. If you're unfamiliar with what Dino Rabbits are, they are a deck which revolves around using Rescue Rabbits to get Cobazools or Sabersaurus, as they are the highest, they have the best stats as far as normal dinosaurs, to get Evolzar Lagia and Evolzar Dolka. These two cards are supposed to are from a set called the Evils, which are a very fun deck, but are not very competitive. These were meant to make them better. But Dino Rabbits used those two cards, as they're not specifically for evils, to be able to abuse Rescue Rabbit's effect to get dinosaurs and go into this card, which can give you last format, I haven't been really into this format as I haven't found it to be very fun, but last format, Dolka was the card. It could negate all the effects of cards. Your opponent summons a Stratos, tries to wind up Magician / Shark you, all these things. Dolka just didn't care. Dolka's too good for you. Dolka kills whatever you try to love it, kills whatever you love in life, and leaves you sad and alone. And they have a 23 beater still, 2300 beater. So, but I used to run Dino Rabbits last format. This format I'm more into other decks, and I'm not just into it that much, but many people think that, oh, Dino Rabbit, they were so much better last format. Dino Rabbit and 2-Red from the Underworld were at 3. No, because nobody ran Macro Cosmos. The thing with Dino Rabbit is it's anti-meta, but it anti-meta so hard that it's meta. Gravekeepers were always kind of the deck, oh, it's anti-meta, it can counter a couple decks. Dino Rabbits just murder everything, and they're so anti-meta that they're meta, if that makes sense to you. Probably does, because I think it makes sense. And plus Macro Cosmos, one of their big challenges was Chaos Dragons, and which I forgot to include on this list. I knew I was forgetting something. I'm very sorry for that. So, anyway, this deck is anti-meta, and what that means is that it counters what's in the meta. We can go through this list. It hurts. Dolka will kill windups. The Mermails don't care too much. It's not good. It's okay against agents and Evils, like the Lagia and the Dolka. They're very good. No, they're okay against Dark Worlds. They're very They're pretty bad against Chaos. They're very good against Heroes. They're very good against Six Sams and Zectors, to a point, Machinas. Very good against Hieratics, and pretty good against Yugiohs. Now, this deck is getting better and better with Macrocosmos. Very strong competitor to be one of the best decks. On to the next one. I hate this deck. No, just no, I don't like it. I don't want to be associated with it. It's just Sack City. Wind-Up Magician plus Wind-Up Shark is one of the most unfair plays I've ever seen. And I have seen 6 Sams back in 2011. Now, I chose Wind-Up Shark as Wind-Up Shark is one of the best cards in there. Paired along with Wind-Up Factory, Wind-Up Rabbit, and Wind-Up Magician. And to last format, when what the Wind-Ups did instead of spam was completely kill your hand. And this made them not as good. Excuse me. And that's why they escaped the ban list, except for Zen Mighty going to 1. Which, it hurt, but just not too much. Everybody was calling for Wind-Up Hunter to be banned, but they didn't. And even though, and with Wind-Up Zen Mighty at 1, they just didn't know how bad things would get, because now they're better than ever. I do not like this deck. I don't think it's a fair deck. Last format, when people were talking about what was going to get hit, they all said, oh, hit the Wind-Up loop. Honestly, I just thought, you know, Shark to 1, but that was just me. And ended up Zen Mighty going to 1, which in turn did kill the Wind-Up. Well, not a loop, it's just a very, very big play. It beat the Wind-Up loop, but now made them even more versatile deck, which is very hard to compete with, except for Max C and some other cards, such as a good, well-timed Torrential Tribute, which can work on a lot of decks. Wind-Up's very good deck. They take a little more thought than something like Dino Rabbits. Dino Rabbits are very straightforward. Wind-Ups, as most people say, it's very straightforward, but having played them, they take a little bit of skill. Not skill, but a little bit of thought. Alright. Mermails. Mermails suck. They're awful. But another deck came out, another type came out, and there are these guys called the Atlanteans. Well, what are these? Why didn't you put Atlanteans instead of Mermails? Atlanteans on their own do nothing at all. Mermails on their own, they're just not good. It's kind of like ice barriers. They work, they're just pretty bad. And that's how I feel about Mermails. But when you pair these two, it becomes an extremely strong deck. Let me look up Atlanteans so I can show you what they do. And I cannot spell. T-N. There we go. This deck is used for a Diva target, occasionally. This card is extremely used. It's a searcher for everything and anything except for Deep Sea Diva. This is a very good card, which kills which kills monsters. Not as much used as this other card, which I'm going to get into, which is Atlantean Marksman, which destroys back row. Very good card, extremely good. Megalo, if you have another one of those on the field, they can tribute it to attack twice. If you have an heavy infantry on board, you can normal summon another Sea Serpent, which is most of the cards outside of Deep Sea Diva. As I said, nobody runs Pikeman. Pikeman's awful. Why would you even have Pikeman called the Atlanteans? Atlanteans are not a normal, just aren't run on their own. And Pasidra, no place for Pasidra and Mermail Atlanteans. These two compared, together are a very good deck, but they are hurt very hard by a card which I love called Soul Drain. Last format, what everybody ran, was a card called Skill Drain. This card negated all effects. This hurts windups. Hurt a lot of decks. This format, Skill Drain's not doing so good. Instead, this card, Soul Drain. Monsters that are banished, as well as monsters in the graveyard, cannot start a chain. As I said, Mermails are awful without Atlanteans. Mermails, dead. Agents. Alright, I guess. Dark Worlds, dead. Chaos Dragons, not doing too great. E-Heroes, they don't even care. Dragonfly, not Dragonflight, and Zekers, Machinas, dead. It hurts decks. It's a very good card. I love it. I side deck it and everything at 3. Along with Shadowing and Imprisoning Mirror because Graph is a jerk. Hate you, Grapha. Alright, now there is a deck called the Agents. I really like this deck. This deck never dies. Earth was at 1, and nobody cared. People still played Agents. Now that Earth's at 2, the deck's making a comeback. Now, I said that I would say what 3 decks I thought were, running the meta right now. They're these 3. But then there are also decks that still have a very strong place in the meta. I put this deck on its own because it's a deck that I don't think is a top contender. Of course, it'll top a YCS or 2, top a lot of regionals, locals, things like that. But it's just not, of course, if it plays up against one of these, I would think these 3 have an advantage. But of course, this can win because it's a very strong deck. Now, Agent of Mystery Earth. It's the Searcher. It's paired with a deck. Well, let me show you. Now, this deck has a lot of options. No, Agent, sorry. This deck has a lot of cards. Nobody runs Saturn. Nobody runs Mars. Some people run Jupiter at 1, and nobody runs Mercury. Now, this deck is supposed to basically be a deck around life points. But what people do is they run Earth and Venus and occasionally one Jupiter. What this will do will allow you to get Ganchi Gachi Gentetsu by getting Mystic Shine Balls out, getting a strengthened Venus, you can synchro with Earth, and you get out somebody called Master Hyperion. He's a very good card with an extremely simple summoning condition and a effect which, in my opinion, is really similar to the High Priestess of Prophecy. Now, you might have noticed that I don't have prophecies on here. Prophecies aren't doing anything in the meta. I do not like the prophecies. They're not very good. I don't think they have any chance except for when Cosmo Blazer comes out, because somebody named the Reaper of Prophecy comes out, and I will think he will have a big impact on the meta. Him and his buddy, the Devil, Prophecy Destroyer, will wreck things. Prophecy Destroyer was considered an awful card. Right now, if you check its price, it's going to be a lot higher than it was a couple weeks ago, because Prophecy Destroyer and Prophecy Reaper go very well together. The whole Prophecy archetype is based off cards. The Devil and the Reaper work together, and then there is the High Priestess, which had its own little archetype. They are very good cards, but as I said, they're not out yet, so I'm not going to really discuss them. Alright, these 3, in my opinion, are dying. TCG, sorry. Heroes are better than ever in the OCG. Rabbit's not being used in the dinosaurs. It's being used with Vers or Evil Swarm or Ice Swarm. He's changed the English names. I believe the final is going to be Ice Swarm. Windups, which are called Mainsprings, aren't doing great, and I don't think Mermails are doing anything at all. Don't know about these. I know Chaos Dragons are doing okay. So, Dark Worlds. You all know them. They focus on discarding cards to the graveyard, which get their effects when not discarded by a cost. Well, when I play them, you play them with... I play them with... I used to play, back when I didn't know what I was doing, with Snow and Gold. That's how Dark Worlds used to be, which were kind of bad. But now, look at this guy called the Grappa, the Dragon Lord of Dark World. You can return any face of Dark World you control to your hand and special summon this from the grave. Why is this even a deck? I don't even get it. Now, I run 1 Beige, because Beige is amazing for Grappa. Snow, who's an extremely cheap searcher. Brow, who's just draw power. Then there's Gates, which are more draw power and more discard power. And there is Grappa. Grappa's a jerk. I don't like Grappa. These... They have the potential to be a great deck, but they're not doing much in the meta. Sorry. They're not doing much as far as topping in the meta. I mean, when you look at top 10s at YCSs, you'll usually see a Dark World or 2. Usually just probably 1. Because, I don't know, they just do not... They're not doing what they can, and I'm happy because I don't like these guys. Chaos Dragons. This is what I ran last form, other than Dino Rabbit. Dino Rabbit, I also thought was a little bit cheap. Chaos Dragons were fun. So... These guys focus on milling cards, getting them in your grave. This can be done in many ways, usually by what's called Twilight, which focuses on the card Lila, Lightsworn Sorceress, sometimes Raikou, Lightsworn, Hunter, and then Charge of the Light Brigade and Solar Recharge. These cards all focus on milling, which helps out Chaos Dragons because they focus on banishing lights and darks to get out dragons such as Dark Flare, Light Pulsar, and Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. This deck was hurt hard. Now, this card is a very good card, and that's why I'm going to get rid of it right now, because it is not a exclusively... Go away. This card is not exclusively for Chaos Dragons. So I'm going to put Light Pulsar there instead. That was a mistake, and I'm sorry. It also focuses on Dark Flare Dragon, just not as much in an extent. Because what used to happen is, you destroy the Light Pulsar. Oh, I'm going to get my Red Eyes Darkness Metal. Oh, I have my Red Eyes Darkness Metal out. Well, let me just go get my Light Pulsar. It's a really good deck. But Red MD to 1, that hurt. Plus, with the prevalence of Macro Rabbit, that deck doesn't even have a chance. And that's one of the things that bothers me. Unless Dino Rabbits get hit, or people stop playing them, the Reaper of Prophecy is going to have a hard time. As you can tell, I like him in that deck. Because you focus on your graveyard, and without a graveyard, Dino Rabbit says, oh, Iron Macro says, oh, hi. No, you're not playing today. E-Heroes, these wreck up the OCG, they're not doing much. They focus on using Elemental Hero Stratos, their Beat Stick, Neos Alias. Nobody was going to Gemini summon that card, because Neos sucks. Why would you use Neos? All his fusions suck. And a card called Elemental Hero Bubble Man, which special summons him when he's the only card in your hand. Focus on getting out Blade Armor Ninja and Excalibur, and then last format using Super Poly against your opponent's cards to get out your own. But with the prevalence of Earth types, with Grand Soil Psychics and other things, that Super Poly started to die, and Miracle Fusion took up because Gaia sucks. And E-Heroes have amazing fusions. I mean, they're like general manga fusions? Yeah. Because the cards used in the manga were a lot different than the anime. And the ones in the anime are pretty awful. Cards in the manga are actually pretty good. I believe that's how it is. Cards like Stratos, Ocean, Woodsman are in the manga, and then cards like Burstionyx, Evian, those are all anime. So, these are all kind of dying. They're not as good as they were. Stratos has been at 1. But I don't know. I don't think they're not doing very great, and I don't think anything will help them. That's what I consider to be the top meta. But then there's the decks that are coming into the meta if they either left or were never in it, or were in the meta and are now leaving. Not like these. These are going to be just lower tier meta decks, tier 1.5 probably. I don't know what I'd put agents at. If there was a tier 1.25, that's where they'd be. These are tier 1, tier 1.5. I'm making up a new tier, guys. Agents are 1.25. Alright. I used to hate 6 Sams. But now that they're not the cheap jerks that they were, you can see I am thinking about running 6 Sams. They're not too expensive, and I want to get into competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! Again, at things like locals. So, I'm thinking about running them, so I have a little bit of a bias towards them. But 6 Samurais, since the beginning of 2012, have been doing well in places like South America and Europe. Later in 2012, kind of like the turning point was YCS Indianapolis, sorry. Indiana, sorry. Alright, YCS Indianapolis. 6 Samurais topped. That has not happened in a while. Triple Shien was awful. Maybe double Shien wouldn't be too awful, but I don't know. It's just difficult. 6 Samurais are making a comeback, and I'm happy about that. I like this deck. They're not unmatched anymore like it used to be. Right now, you have a chance of beating them with cards like Torrential Tribute at 2. Torrential Tribute's a great card against so many decks. Windups. To some extent, Chaos Dragons, Yugiohs, Machinas. They're just good cards. Good cards. And 6 Samurais, they're making a comeback. I like them. They're cool guys. I think I'm going to probably run them. Watch us for some 6 Samurai videos from me. I like them. These guys are starting to make their way into tier 0.15. I mean, they used to be tier 2 or 3, but they're starting to come back a little bit. I really like that. Good job, Keyzon. Keyzon's the most broke-ass card there is. I don't even know why. Well, also, I just want to share a little thing. Now, I was looking at different 6 Sam decks, and when I looked at the one from Indianapolis, I saw him running original 6 Sams. Zanji has always been used, but he was using a card called Iru. Iru, I don't know. I always think of Pyru, which is a gang. Yeah, I know. Bad me. But this deck does not like Lightsworns. It does not like Yugiohs. It does not like Nordics. It does not like a lot of decks. And most of those decks focus on flip summoning. Well, what do you know? Iru is the card for you. When it attacks a face down defense position monster, destroy that monster immediately without flipping it or, excuse me, applying damage calculation. Well, oh, that's a very nice Spirit Reaper. That's a very nice Marshmelon. That's a very nice Raikou. That's a very nice Transjoster, I think. Yeah. That's a very nice Spirit Reaper, if I didn't say that already. That's a very nice Yugioh Armor. They're not going to be doing well against this. Plus, he's just a really good card. I like him. He is just a nice guy. I think that he deserves a spot in my deck, which he does. I might go over my 6 Sams later, as I probably said. Inzectors. They killed this deck. It's dead, dead, dead. Oh, wait. No. They're not dead. They're coming back. YCS Seattle. Repping that 206. Alright. So, YCS Seattle. Mermails. Mermails everywhere. But one guy decided, hey, I'm gonna run Inzectors. Who would run Inzectors? That deck's dead. Oh wait, no it's not. Inzectors used to be I was watching a video by this guy, Mega Capital G, and he was talking about how Inzectors used to suck. And the reason he said that was because it used to be clogged. Triple Hornet, Triple Dragonfly, Triple Senti, a Gigamantis, and that's pretty much it. And occasionally Inzector Hopper. Now, with these, you focus on using cards like Call of the Haunted, Threatening War, Messenger of Peace, to kind of get your control variant going. And keep bringing back these cards. And now, these always are going to be the power cards of this deck, and therefore should always be ran. But these are starting to come back. They were dead for a while until people started to try to bring them back. Bring Zekties back, as they say. Also, Billy Break. He had an impact on bringing these back. I like these. Inzectors, not so much. I never really liked them, but 6 Sams and Inzectors, they're making a comeback, and I like it. Dark Worlds can go away. Nobody likes you. Alright. Machinas. I will put these at kind of like the Earth. They're kind of on their own, along with this. They're always going to be kind of that deck that's always there and can do some work, but will never really top. Actually, no, some of them do top, but this doesn't really have a good chance of topping. Fortress is a great card, but yet again, Dino Rabbit is just so good. Macro just hurts Fortress so much because you actually have to not use its cheap summoning condition with discarding itself. And I mean, this could just be running so many variants. Gear Machinas, not Karakuri, Yugioh Machinas. It's just Gadget, yeah, all those stuff. I don't really like them. End of story. Chain Burn. Alright. Burn. It's the no skill man's deck. I was running up against a Chain Burn guy yesterday. I was about to beat him. He just scooped. Because they don't like to lose, because they have no skill, and they want to be winners all the time. You basically don't even have a monster out, probably, except for like a Marshmelon or a maybe Spirit Reaper, more commonly a Marshmelon. And you just Magic Cylinder people, you Poison the Old Man, you Secret Barrel, you Just Desserts, and then, to top it all off, you put a Chain Strike for another 2,000 or so. I know it's an awful deck. People still run it. Unfortunately, it has success. I hate this deck. Go away. You and Dark Worlds. I banished you. Heretics. Alright. This is why I got rid of Red MD. Red MD helped this deck so much. This deck was the top of the leaderboard for so long because Hieratic OTK. You go Tepnuit or Reset into Sue. You get out your Luster Dragon number 2, use Sue's effect, you pop, you get out the other one, the Watt Tail, you go into Atoms, you get one from the grave, You bring it out. You overlay with Sue. No, sorry, you don't get, sorry, what am I talking about? You don't get another one from the grave. You get out your red MD. Then you special summon that. You use Sue's effect. You get another one. You overlay your Sue and the other card for another atoms. Get another red MD. Red MD special summons stuff. That's how you're doing this. Your red MD too. You know, you have to have those. Then you guide the Thunder Charger over your atoms so it can be an attacking monster. Then you put both your red MDs across once they've used their effects for a guy called Dreadnought Railcannon Dreadnought Gustav Max. Really good card. You burn them and then you attack with all for an OTK. Red MD's at 1. You can't do it anymore. Gustav's not an option. Fire Addicts are hurting. They're leaving. They're going bye-bye. Makes me sad. Fun deck. Yugioh. Alright. As you can see here, I rank them. These are my decks that I like to play, but I don't want to run in competitive. These are the ones I want to play in competitive. Yugiohs are gone. They're leaving fast. Now, Yugioh armor, I doubt it costs that much anymore. Yugiohs are a dying deck. People are playing them less and less, and it's just kind of sad. Yugiohs used to be one of the only reasons 6 Sams weren't working, because 6 Sams hate that card with a passion. Armor and just Yugiohs in general. 6 Sams can't deal with big monsters, and luckily for them, there are no big monsters in the meta except for in the form of Chaos Dragons, Dark Worlds, and Yugiohs. 6 Sams don't care about Dark Worlds. They really don't. But they do care about Chaos Dragons, they care about Yugioh. Chaos Dragons are leaving, so our Yugioh 6 Sams are just going to get better and better. Yugioh is a really fun deck. I pair them with Karakuri. I'm a Synchro guy. I really like them. They're just a very good deck. Anyway, this is my analysis of the meta. When Cosmo Blazer comes out, after seeing what's happening, I'll try to make another one. And yeah, have a good day. Thanks.